Hello everybody, my name is Brian Rice, head of R&D here at Boveda. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to prevent terpenes from evaporation. A lot of great studies are being conducted in this cannabis market as we speak. So one thing that we want to make sure is that if we understand how unique terpenes are as we begin to explore them, let's make sure that we're not going to let them evaporate and protect them. One way that we can prevent the evaporation is the creation of a monolayer of water that is coated around those trichomes. As that monolayer of water forms around those trichomes, that also creates a really healthy, hardy, and protected trichome. As trichomes become underhydrated or dry, they become very brittle. And if the dry trichome is brittle, it'll break and fall off of those buds, falling into your container, which creates that keef. Now remember, majority of terpenes reside within those trichomes. So if they're no longer on that bud and they're in your container, they're no longer going to be smoked. So keep those trichomes hardy, healthy, and create a monolayer. So a way to illustrate that a little further is to show you how fast terpenes can evaporate. I've got a blend of terpenes here from True Terpenes, and what I'm going to do is just put a couple drops onto this plate here, and this will represent the terpenes that reside within those trichomes on that strain of weed that you have. And a wonderful berry smell that's coming off this terpenes. Now I can let this sit here on this countertop for 2 or 3 days in this environment and it'll evaporate, but I don't have that long of a time. So I have a heat plate over here that I'm just going to put this plate on, and what this heat plate is going to do is accelerate this evaporation. So as this is evaporating, you can see the steam which is coming off of the plate. That's not smoke. That's water and terpenes that are evaporating with improper humidity control. Evaporation will occur just as you see here. Another way that you can help prevent that evaporation from occurring is what can be created by only a saltwater solution, and that is monolayer of water that can create a shield around those trichomes that I mentioned earlier. In order for me to illustrate what this monolayer looks like, I just got some simple syrup, cinnamon, and I have it in this jar. And if you think about this beaker being your trichome, and the cinnamon represents the terpenes that reside in your trichome. And this cinnamon smell in this beaker is very strong, very similar to what the terpenes would be like in your strain. And right now, this is illustrating without humidity control, without a monolayer. You've just got terpenes that are exposed to nature, exposed to the environment. What I have in this beaker is just water, and I've added some blue dye to its food coloring so you can see the contrast. And what this represents is the water vapor that is released from the Boveda packs. So when I'm starting to add water vapor, this is what's happening when your dry weed starts to get hydrated to equilibrium or getting close to that 58 or 62% humidity that's printed on our packs within your container. That cinnamon smell, which is actually, remember, on the bottom of this, which is the syrup, was very strong when I started. Now that this monolayer has been created, the smell is no longer within this container, within this beaker. The headspace is void of that terpene smell. The only thing I did was just add a little bit of water to the top. That's creating that monolayer. That's creating that shield. That's locking in terpenes, preventing evaporation, not only of water, but those terpenes from evaporating. So you can control this. You can control evaporation, prevent it from happening all the way through from cure to consumption. So the unique thing about this, creating the monolayer, is it's going to suppress that smell. It's going to suppress the smell that's in your container. So in this sea vault, which we primarily use here, great barrier, great container, just some hemp in here that we've been using. Now, if I had hemp in here that was not controlled with humidity and it was dry, when I'd open this up, I would get a very strong hit of that terpene smell. I would get that limonene. I would get that citrus smell, and that's bad. And the reason for that is because evaporation has occurred. Those terpenes have left your weed, your hemp, never to return back in. So if I open this up, now say for example, your hemp has been hydrated. When I open this back up and I smell this again, you're not going to smell the strong hit of terpenes. That's good. That means the trichomes have been hydrated, they've been protected, and that monolayer is better. The terpenes reside, they're still in there. So I'm just going to take a little bit out of here. We're going to take a bud and break it in half. Nice and squishy. It's not dry, as you can see. And we're just going to put a little bit into this grinder, and we're going to grind her up. So what's happening now, obviously we're grinding this, is that once I get this all the way through the screen and we open it up, we're going to smell it again. Oh, wow. The smell in this, the smell difference between this ground hemp versus what's unground is tremendous. This is something that you can do at home. Try this for yourself. Take some weed, place it into a really good airtight container, preferably a sea vault or a glass jar, and place your Boveda into it. Let it hydrate for a couple weeks, maybe a day or 4 or 5 days, and then take it out and grind it. I want you to smell the container before you grind it, and then smell. And you're going to smell a tremendous difference, a huge difference between these two. Do it for yourself. Try it out. So if we understand the difference in smell between ground versus unground, and why that monolayer, that shield, is so imperative to create around those trichomes to prevent terpenes from evaporation. And we know it starts at 55 RH, all the way up between 55 and 62. You want to try to get your weed and those trichomes within that range as fast and as accurately, precisely as you can. Now, Boveda can do that. And the reason why, or how we can do that, is we use all natural salt. For creating precise humidity at certain ranges, salt has been preferred for centuries in using different RHs and different modes. Also within trying to calibrate some lab equipment, salt and water blends have been used. So the uniqueness of the Boveda pack is that this film can take in water vapor and give water vapor out very quickly. So that'll get you there very quickly within that 55 to 62% range. You know, way to illustrate this, I'm going to place this pack in this jar. And I have a hygrometer sitting out here. In our environment, we're at 29%. And I'm going to place it into this jar. And we're going to watch how fast this climbs. And we're just going to time it about 3 minutes. And we're just going to watch this guy jump up. Immediately, you're going to see the RH jump up. It's going to climb and climb. What's happening inside this jar is that the environment, all the air in this jar, is going to get to 62%. And right now, it started at 29, and we're sitting at 38% right now, and it's only been 30 seconds. So that's how fast Boveda can work. Now let's look at how precise. I also have another jar with a 62% Boveda pack in here, and this hygrometer is reading at 63%. These hygrometers are plus or minus 2, so whatever is printed on the pack, for example 62, I can guarantee you that when you place a Boveda pack in a very great high barrier container, it'll always be what it's printed at 62% or 58, whatever's printed on that pack, guaranteed. So that's going to precisely get you where you need to be. That's how Boveda can get you to that monolayer. Oh, and by the way, let's look at these terpenes that I dumped into this tin. They're gone. It's hot, but it's gone. There's no smell to this. So you can see how fast terpenes can evaporate. So now, timer's up. That's been 3 minutes, and this hygrometer is now reading at 46%. Get your bud within that range of 55 to 62 fast and precisely in order to protect those terpenes from evaporation. Thanks a lot, guys. This is Brian Rice signing off.